Welcome to the Breaking 90 podcast, where we talk about all things sustainable fat loss. We take people on 90-day journeys to creating fat loss forever. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy the episode.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Breaking 90 podcast. I'm here today with a special guest, Mike Levine. Mike is an online coach that I've worked hand in hand with over the past couple of years, and I know he's got a ton of valuable information and insight, and I think you're all going to really like hearing some different opinions from Mike. So I've asked him to come out and join us today. I really appreciate you being here, Mike. What's going on? How you doing, man?
Thanks, Alex. Awesome to be here and kind of share with you and the community kind of what's been going well and what hasn't lately. And just moved into my new garage gym, so super excited to get my workouts in, to host some clients here locally, and kind of really help people evolve to their 2.0 worldwide. So
sweet, that's exciting, and it's nice to have that devoted space. And you're not too far from me, right? You're just in Toronto.
I'm in Toronto. Yeah, you're in Barrie.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Okay, so I guess, Mike, start off by telling everybody who you are and who you help.
Yeah, great question. So again, my name is Mike Levine. I coach men and some women, actually more so lately, to really help them improve their health and fitness. But really, men over 30 to lose the dad bod, I'd call it, or belly fat, and build some lean muscle and feel good. Feel good at any age, really, no matter what age you're at, to do the activities you want to do, whether it's with your kids, with other family members, with your friends, and the sports you want to do at any stage of your life. I pivoted from finance to fitness, a little bit about me, and really dug deep on how I wanted to show up with people, how I wanted to help others, from learning from my own health and fitness journey and my recovery. I had a traumatic brain injury in 2013, and that forced me to dig deep into my own healing, my own recovery, meeting with multiple different practitioners, functional medicine doctors, naturopaths, nutritionists, to get clear on my optimal health. And this is what's evolved into Mindful Method, into my 12-week online coaching program. Today, all these nuggets of wisdom that I've picked up along the way and now packaged really cool for my clients, and kind of evolved from there. So yeah, pivoted finance to fitness just over 5 years ago. Love every second of it. Challenged nonstop with certain clients, and love the challenges that come with it, and continually try to take that growth mindset, which I really try to instill with my clients. Is like, you never know it all. There's so much information out there, and just trying to make it as simple and as concise as we can. And I love that line that John Goodman always talks about. So for those who don't know, John Goodman is our kind of mentor, our coach, our leader. And what would it look like if this were simple, right? So just coming at it with that very simplistic mindset of, what's one or two things you can start with today that's going to really move the needle going forward. So that's a little bit about me and kind of who I work with, and who how I show up with others.
Love it. Thanks, man. One thing that you said there that just like hits so hard with me, and it's something we talk about all the time, is simplicity. It's I'm sure you experience it too. So as you know, we work primarily with women, but there's so many parallels, right? It's like we want to think that this is such a unique journey, and that health and fitness is so unique, and everybody needs their custom plan, their custom program. But at the end of the day, most of us need very similar things in order to succeed. Simplicity is one of them. Everybody wants to make this more complicated than it needs to be. Everybody wants to put in rules and regulations and limitations and make it a more challenging journey. And I believe that's a huge part of the reason that people fail on their own. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, the sooner we can start building the momentum, building certain key habits, the sooner you're going to have those activation moments, or those quick wins, we like to call it as coaches, to start getting the ball rolling. It reminds me of a story. I was just on a call with a new client and his biggest pain point or his biggest challenge was motivation. He's got an awesome home gym he hasn't used in a year. He's got access to a great personal trainer at Equinox, who's now coincidentally on a leave of absence. So for him, it's like making those barriers to entry a lot easier to get down to his basement, because he's in between now. He's transitioning out of a work role that was very stressful for him, and now into a little bit of semi-retirement, and he may go back to work, he may not. So, one piece of homework I gave him, and what I like to give clients before initially starting with me, is let's try 1 or 2 habits that you can do right now, today, anywhere you are, whether you're on vacation or not, that will help move the needle going forward. And those 2 things were 20 push-ups a day. He loves his push-ups. He knows he needs to build upper body strength. If you need to modify it on a bench, on your knees, on the floor, however you get them done, you don't need to be in a gym. And the second one was limiting alcohol. And we came with the agreement of 5 drinks a week.
Love it.
Yes, it's summer. Yes, patios are hopping. And I think that's another big thing that we always talk about, Alex, is not restricting everything you love, right? If you love those patio beers, your drinks, the desserts, sweets, whatever you want to have, I want you to have it. And another good point came out on my last call with another client was, instead of having it as that cheat day, how about that reward day for Alex as having a great week? If you nailed 80% of your meals, your habits, your movement, I want you to enjoy, that slice of cake, or, that cheeseburger, whatever it is, right? That drink. So I think the easier, getting back to that initial point you made, simplicity, 20 push-ups, limiting 5 drinks a week. If you can crush that, you're going to make huge progress right in the beginning. I see a lot of that with men. Typically, is like, if I can really dial in their alcohol consumption, get you moving a little bit more than you're used to, like a 20-minute walk, that's going to change the game. I love another point Arnold Schwarzenegger always makes: 30 minutes of walking every single day is a non-negotiable for life, right? It's movement. As human beings, we need to move on a daily basis. And that's just part of it, right? With us sitting at desks, for 8+ hours a day, make walking an enjoyable thing to do, whether you're listening to podcast music, walking your dog. We all know our dogs need a little bit more walking. I know you have a new puppy too. So,
Yep, I do. I hope the people listening to this is resonating so hard, because so many of these messages you're saying are very similar to the messages that we preach, and just different wording. And it's like, I hope it's really clicking with people, because sometimes we need to hear it in different ways from different people. And the fact that Mike's talking about this stuff and how he implements it with his clients, who are primarily men, and the way that we implement it with our clients, who are primarily women, but it's the same message at the end of the day. We need to find a way to move more. We need to find a way to make this easy. Mike, how often do you have a client say to you that they're struggling with something that we didn't set as a goal for them? So as an example, I'll have a client be like, hey, I'm really struggling to not drink any alcohol this week. And I'll be like, I never set that as a goal. Why are you making this more complicated than it needs to be? Do you have this kind of thing happen with you?
Yeah, I think as we get into the coaching relationship, clients always have this perfectionist mentality first starting. I've got to nail all my workouts. I got to be 100% perfect on my meals. I got to move 10,000 steps every single day. And I'm like, I love to set the expectation, the precedent in the beginning. You're not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And if you are struggling, never struggle alone. This is one of Melissa Shavenko's, another coach of ours in our community, emphasizes. If you're struggling, I want to hear from you. And more importantly, a client said it really well the other week, is progress over perfection. So what can you do today? Every day counts. If it's not an hour workout, 20 minutes, crush your push-ups, bodyweight squats. You don't need that fancy gym or, the garage gym I built here to have an awesome workout, to make progress at the end of the day. But, on that point, I think also, as we dig into the coaching relationship, other things come about. Again, I was on a call earlier today, and a client made the point that he enjoys his carbonated drinks fairly often throughout the week. One of the big things I dig into in the beginning of a coaching relationship is let's focus on the basics, right? So drinking water the majority of the time, not carbonated water. And I educated him a little bit because I have a little bit more nutrition background. Carbonated drinks, for those people, you know, listening to this who are having it on a regular basis, the soda streams, bubbly, you know, even if it's not Coke or beer, is putting CO2 into your gut, blows up your stomach, and actually gives you a false sense of being hungry. So the way I talk about nutrition is there's always a good, better, best option. So the best option would be water for a drink. Better option, yes, of course, is like club soda, a bubbly, a non-alcoholic beer, and then a beer at the opposite end of the spectrum, right? So this kind of came out. He's like, oh, I didn't know that about, you know, carbonated drinks or club soda. I thought that was just a great habit to have. And of course, he was struggling and not seeing progress being made. So this is where, you know, we as coaches put our thinking caps on and become a little bit more curious of like, okay, you know, you tell me you're drinking water the majority of the time, what are you actually drinking, right? And of course, logging and tracking food a little bit really helps, because unless you're tracking, you're guessing. So yeah, that was kind of a cool little example that came up recently with a client, that it was an aha moment. He's like, maybe I will try this for the next 30 days, and encouraged him to come up with, I know you're the same, Alex, like come up with these little challenges for our clients. We all love gamifying, you know, our health, right? Whether it's a step challenge, you know, a no alcohol week challenge, or whatever it is, right? It is making it fun, because I think at the end of the day, if you can make fitness fun, you're going to enjoy it for life, and it'll be a lifestyle, more importantly. So,
yeah, I think where that type of example becomes really important is when you hit that plateau and you don't know why you hit that plateau. And everybody's had that. I feel like I'm doing everything right, but I'm not making progress. What's wrong? That's where we have to take that deeper look. Because I mean, obviously if somebody's trading bubbly for beer, they're going to be ahead of the game. But if you feel now like you're at this point where you're doing everything right and you're still not making progress, there's so many different hidden factors we can expose and dig into at that point. One thing that I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking with you today about, because I know it's something that both of our audiences certainly could benefit from hearing, is the idea of emotional eating and how that can affect and sabotage our progress. Is this something that you see often in your audience?
Yeah, like it's definitely come up a couple times lately with current clients of, you know, stress, anxiety, going through relationship challenges have been quite frequent this summer, actually, with a couple of my clients. Unfortunately, life happens, right? Life will throw you curveballs. So it's, you know, digging into how are you dealing and coping with stress, if you are at all, right? And a lot lately I've heard is reaching for the snack cupboard, you know, having drinks, having to just subtly appease ourselves and feel that sense of comfort, because maybe we're not able to deal with that stress, that anxious moment, or you know, whatever kind of challenge comes across our plate, and it's that temporary like dopamine hit we're getting with a chocolate bar, with you know, a glass of wine or a beer, right? So I've been getting into this a lot more lately with whatever reason. Clients have been a lot more stressful these days, whether their schedule's ramping up, you know, kids are off for the summertime, and they've just got more time to spend with their kids, and life gets busy. So it's like, how are you managing and coping with stress on a day-to-day basis? And you know, some really great habits have evolved from there. So I always love to ask the client, Alex, what is one or two ways that you really think could help you, instead of reaching for that Snickers bar or that Corona, you know, help you work through this moment, right? This challenging moment with your boss, with your kids, with whatever, right? And I use that motivational interviewing tactic instead of giving you that answer. I find if my client can come up with it, it sinks in a lot better. And then when they have that stressful moment or that anxious, period that comes up, that season in their life, they're like, okay, yeah, I remembered having this conversation with Mike, and it's like, I'm going to try to action it. And if you don't action it, that's okay. But at least if you attempt it, that's huge, right? Huge progress in the right direction. So,
yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's not often a knowledge gap that's holding people back, and so having somebody there just to give you knowledge isn't going to solve your problems. If I'm like, okay, do this, this, and this, that's not solving your problems. You need coaching.
mm-hmm.
What Mike's talking about is coaching. It's teaching you to navigate these situations so that you don't always need a coach to hold your hand. I think that's massive. And there's the flip side to what you're saying too. I agree with everything you're saying. It's we're more likely to reach for those comfort style foods, but there's also the idea that our motivation is going to be down, and our the level at which we prioritize our health and fitness is going to be down. We talk about it often on a ladder, the rungs on a ladder. So say right now your health and fitness is sitting around third or fourth rung on that ladder after your family and your career and whatever else. When stress and anxiety and all this crazy shit happens in your life, it might drop only one rung on that ladder, which you might not notice, but it drastically changes how you prioritize your days. You don't have the motivation any longer to meal prep, where meal prep 2 weeks ago might have been easy for you, right? Agreed?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important to recognize for anybody listening to this that falls into these cycles of emotional eating. It's very possible that your health and fitness priority has dropped a rung on that ladder, and you're holding yourself to a standard at which you held yourself to when it was a higher priority, which is very freaking difficult to uphold.
Yeah, I like what you say there. I think it's always a challenge with all of us is managing those three buckets. You've got work, you've got personal, you've got your family, and you've got your own health, right? To kind of, we're all juggling those, and one sometimes takes a little bit more of precedence or priority sometimes than others, right? And then the goal is to try to balance them out a bit and revert back to getting back to where you'd like to go. And I think knowing that season of time is not finite, right? It's not forever, rather. And it's a short period of the stressful time you're going through, right? So, work through it. Shine away from it is likely the worst thing you could do, and grow from it, right? That this is how we become more resilient. If you have, I was buried in an avalanche in 2013. My life changed forever. And I was forced to pivot. Working out was nothing. I couldn't do it for 2 years of my life. I couldn't run. I couldn't play hockey. All the sports, I grew up as an athlete. Everything I loved to do was taken from me. It was almost like my COVID back in 2013. So it forced me to adapt, to dig into, like, my foundation is yoga. I did yoga teacher training. That's what I could do, getting back on my feet and improve my health and fitness. Ride the stationary bike and do yoga. And that's where I started rebuilding, my own foundation. And I think, again, points to that all or none mentality, right? If we can't do everything, well, then it goes out the window. And I hear this or sense this a lot, sometimes with new clients or, potential clients, where if, like, I can't do it all, it's just kind of a waste. And why should we even continue or even try to go down this road together? Because it's just not realistic at the end of the day.
I love what you said here. There's two things that resonate so deeply with me. What you said here is that this isn't going to be forever. This stressful time you're going through isn't going to be forever. And so we really need to evaluate how we can get through this period of time. Does it need to be perfect? Absolutely not. But what Mike said here, that all or nothing mindset, is such a massive, massive concept to consider. If we allow ourselves to fall back to nothing, if we allow ourselves to revert back to all those shitty old habits that we used to do during every stressful period of our life, we will never make progress. So instead of trying to nail it, get it perfect, which we're not going to do. Find that whole area in between where it's above nothing, but it's not quite everything. That's okay. There's a whole world there where you can keep moving forward towards your goal, and it's not going to be perfect, but when you come out of that stressful period, you're going to be light years ahead of where you would have been if you had thrown in the towel. I love it. Love the message you're delivering here, man.
I think it's also like something is better than nothing, right? If you can't get to the gym, you can do body weight. You can go for a run. You can do, and that's where we as coaches get creative a little bit. We've talked about this before, that the bare ass minimums, right? Your BAMs. Alex, what are the bare ass minimums you can do with the puppy right now? I can do push-ups. I can do some squats. I can, do whatever on the spot at home when I'm taking him for a walk or whenever. And I think it also points to that 80% mentality, right? Again, not being 100% perfect. If Alex nails 17 of his 21 meals, if you're eating 3 meals a day, every single week, that leaves room for 4 that you can actually really, go nuts on if you really want to go nuts. I don't encourage you to go nuts, but I think it just kind of alleviates that pressure of always having to feel like every single meal's got to be perfect. I got to track everything. And no, you don't, whether it's workouts, whether it's eating habits, whether it's sleep and recovery, it's working towards that 80%. And I find if I can unlock that message with clients in the beginning, it'll take off, and it's 80%, something better than nothing every single day and every single week to win your week and to win your year, right? And you'll win life if you can kind of go with that mantra and that message consistently.
80% for everything too, right? Like 80% of the time you get better at your sleep, you get better at managing stress, you get better with your nutrition, your movement. Like this can apply to all different areas of your health and fitness. That's such a huge message. People are always so surprised to find out that they can drastically change their health and fitness by starting to walk for 20 minutes a day. Like this doesn't need to be hard, guys. You don't need to overcomplicate this. If you're sitting at home listening to this and you're doing nothing right now, consider that any single action more than what you were doing is moving you closer to your goal. And that's, once you realize that, that could set you free.
Yeah, I think like walking is, for some, can be a very big challenge. It's like a lot of my clients really enjoy the working out part. That's the fun part. You get a good pump in, you can see progress. But walking sometimes can be the hardest. I'm sitting at a desk for 8 hours. I don't make the time to get out and go for a walk or take my dog for a walk. I like to use the analogy or the example of, like, pretend you have a dog if you don't have a dog. You got to walk your dog first thing in the morning and last thing before you go to bed, so he doesn't pee on the carpet, or she, right? And the 3-10 rule is another one I talk about. So for every meal you have, try to walk 10 minutes after you eat. Not only is this going to get you moving, it's going to promote, good health, good digestion, good blood flow in the body, and you're not going to be continuing to sit, I think, at the end of the day. So when clients are on vacation, I always talk about move as much as you can. You're in a new city, new country. You're not strapped to your desk. Set yourself a step goal, right? Try to crush 15, 20K steps every single day. There's really no reason why you can't move a lot while on vacation. I think we both hear this. It's like, oh, I'm going on vacation. I'm just going to, put things on pause or just let things go out the window for a little bit. And it's like, I want you to enjoy vacation. Absolutely. Enjoy different foods, different cuisines. If the social is big for you and going out, but you can also still focus on walking every single day, and you will absolutely still maintain, if more than nothing, your progress, right?
Yeah, people our clients for sure get caught up in the idea that they won't be able to maintain the workouts they've been doing leading up to that vacation. But I love what you said. It's an excuse to increase another aspect. It's an excuse to add to your step count. 1 week off your workouts isn't going to stop you from making progress.
Like another thing that's come up. So if you can see just over the corner of my shoulder, these bands you can buy on Amazon for $40 are an awesome tool. I always encourage clients to get, because you literally roll them up, put them in your backpack. You can train with these anytime, anywhere. and get an awesome workout in, right? One band is really all you need. And it's fun. It's a different way of training the body. Yes, it's a little bit of body weight. There is still resistance there. You can make it as hard or as easy as you want. And it's, a great way to mix up add some variety into your training too, and try something different, get the body moving in a different way if you're always kind of in that similar routine of going to the gym or training at home, right? So like challenge yourself a little bit, make it fun, bring a skipping rope, try different, activities you normally wouldn't do if you're on vacation and you're of that mentality or mindset, like everything just needs to stop and I just need to enjoy, my 10 drinks every day. And I'm going to restart life when I come back. I'm sure you hear that a lot too, Alex. So,
January 1st, Monday, the first of the month, whatever you want it to be. I love it. Just get those 10 minutes of walking in for every one of those 10 drinks and you're laughing.
That's right.
Cool. I want to respect your time, Mike. So the person listening to this who's struggling right now with that stress eating and that a little bit of that all or nothing mindset, are there any last words of wisdom you'd like to leave that person with?
Yeah, I think if you're dealing with stress eating, if you're just trying to get started, if you listen to anything on our talk today, walking is a great, not only for physical, but for your mental health to deal and cope with super stressful situations. You get anxious just to get some fresh air, get away from your desk. I always bring it back to the basics, the non-negotiables of movement every single day, right? Get some movement in, focus on real whole foods the majority, 80% of the time, right? I talk about one ingredient, right? So if it's got more than one ingredient on the back of the label, if it's got a label, you really don't want to be putting that into your mouth the majority of the time, right? Once in a while, if you really feel like you need it, have it. So real food is big. Sleep is huge, and I think often overlooked and underrated. Prioritizing a consistent bedtime, consistent wake up time, 7 days a week is one of the magic pills for longevity and building muscle. I think at the end of the day, this is a big one I talk about with a lot of men. Is let's work on improving your sleep routine. Right, wearable tech is awesome. Oura Ring, Whoop Strap. These are great tools to keep us accountable and to look at some stats. Taking mindful method, taking 5 minutes every day to do some deep breathing. You want to call it meditation, call it meditation. To just focus, sit in the moment, and notice how the body feels. Take a deep breath, deep belly breath here, not breathing from the chest, and just notice: am I stressful? Am I stressed? Am I anxious? Am I overwhelmed right now, or am I in a good place? And just kind of notice what thoughts are coming through your mind, and maybe you'll have some great ideas, and maybe you won't. But taking that 2 to 5 minutes every day is not only helpful for you, but everyone you come in contact with on a daily basis. Hydration. We talked about water today. Drinking water the majority of the time, again, is a basic and non-negotiable. Will help you, and you can do it very easily. Simplicity was another one that came up, right? And then the last one I always talk about is focus your workouts on building your strength and building muscle. If you're doing cardio 7 days a week, you're losing body fat and you're also losing muscle mass, right? So it's not helping you as we get older to build muscle. So if you're only working out twice a week, once a week, focus on resistance training, lifting heavy stuff. A new client, a doctor actually yesterday who I enrolled, he has 3 key words that he talks to his patients with. And the first one is moving daily. The second one is bending. So noticing how your flexibility is. And the third is carry and lift something heavy every single day. Your grocery shopping bags, heavy weight, lifting your kids or your dog, right? So I thought those 3 were just kind of great to remember every day.
Awesome.
Right?
Awesome.
Move, bend, and carry. So
it's nice to hear that from a medical side of things too, because I know those wires get crossed sometimes.
Yeah.
That's huge. Thank you so much for all of that. I know the people listening are getting a lot of value from this episode, and I guess where can they find you, Mike, if they want to hear more of your message, your story? Where's the best place for the people listening to find you?
So on Instagram, I'm Coach Mike Levine, Levine, and my website is mindfulmethodcoach.com. I just redid it. So yeah, love for you all to check it out. I've got a weekly newsletter as well. So you're welcome to sign up on my website. Yeah, and appreciate you having me on today, Alex. It's awesome to chat.
My pleasure. And we can add those links to the show notes for the people listening to find it easier too. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it. Wherever you are listening, please take a screenshot and tag both myself at Breaking 90 Fitness and Mike. Tag us both, share it to your Instagram story. We really appreciate that. Gets more eyes on what we're doing and more listeners on what we're doing, and that's huge for us too. Thanks guys, have a great day.